Welcome back to our channel, where we bring you the latest news and updates on all things entertainment. Today, we have a thrilling and suspenseful story for you. Get ready to dive into the world of Freddy Fazbear's Pizza as we explore the gripping tale of Mike Schmidt, a mall cop turned night guard, in this 8-minute explanation video. Our story begins with Mike Schmidt, who finds himself unemployed after an unfortunate incident involving a mistaken identity. Desperate to find a new job and keep custody of his younger sister Abby, Mike visits career counselor Steve Raglan. Steve offers Mike a position as a night guard at an abandoned family diner called Freddy Fazbear's Pizza. Reluctantly, Mike accepts the job due to the threat of his sister being taken away by social services. On his first night at Freddy Fazbear's Pizza, Mike falls asleep and experiences a vivid dream. In this dream, he witnesses the kidnapping and presumed murder of his brother Garrett. Shocked and confused, Mike is approached by 5 mysterious children who claim to have witnessed the kidnapping as well. Before he can gather more information, the children flee, leaving Mike with more questions than answers. As the nights progress, Mike meets police officer Vanessa Shelley, who reveals the dark history of Freddy Fazbear's Pizza. In the 1980s, 5 children were murdered at the restaurant, and their bodies were never found. This revelation only deepens the mystery surrounding Mike's dreams and the presence of the 5 unknown children. Mike's nightmares continue to haunt him, and on the second night, he attempts to confront one of the children from his dreams. In a shocking turn of events, Mike is physically attacked and wakes up to find himself wounded. However, Vanessa comes to his aid and tends to his injuries, deepening the connection between the 2 characters. On the third night, Mike faces another challenge as his Aunt Jane hires a group of delinquents to vandalize the restaurant. Jane's motive is to get Mike fired, enabling her to gain custody of Abby. Little do they know, the animatronic mascots of Freddy Fazbear's Pizza come to life and brutally murder the delinquents, leaving Mike to protect Abby at all costs. As the nights progress, the animatronics become increasingly hostile towards Mike, but surprisingly friendly towards Abby. Mike discovers that the animatronics are possessed by the ghosts of the murdered children, and they are led by a boy with blonde hair who mentions a yellow rabbit. In between shifts, Mike shares the story of his brother's disappearance, which remains a cold case. Determined to find answers, Mike has been taking sleeping pills to enter his dreams and uncover the truth. However, his panic grows as Abby develops a close bond with the animatronics. Vanessa, concerned for their safety, warns Mike not to bring Abby to the restaurant again, and even threatens him with a gun. Mike, desperate to find answers, enlists Jane to babysit Abby, much to her frustration. He returns to the restaurant during the day and overdoses on sleeping pills to enter his dream once more. Inside his dream, Mike encounters the 5 children again, who offer him a deal. They promise to reunite Mike with Garrett forever, but in exchange, Abby must stay with them. Unbeknownst to Mike, tragedy strikes at home as Jane is murdered by Golden Freddy, a possessed animatronic. Abby is taken back to the restaurant, and Mike finds himself in a nightmarish situation. Mike is repeatedly attacked within his dream and wakes up to find himself strapped to a torture device. With sheer determination, he manages to escape the machine and flees the restaurant, but not without sustaining critical injuries. Thankfully, Vanessa arrives just in time to help him. Upon sharing the details of his dream with Vanessa, a shocking revelation is made. Vanessa is the daughter of William Afton, the serial killer responsible for the murders of Garrett and the other 5 children. She reveals that the animatronics and the souls of the children are under her father's control. Furthermore, Vanessa warns Mike that they will likely attempt to murder Abby. With the newfound knowledge, Mike prepares himself to save Abby. Equipped with the necessary tools, he heads back to the restaurant. Inside, Chica, one of the animatronics, tries to kill Abby by stuffing her into an animatronic suit. However, Mike manages to disable most of the animatronics and saves Abby in the nick of time. Unfortunately, the battle is far from over. Mike is attacked by Chica's cupcake, while Abby faces an attack from Foxy. Luckily, Vanessa intervenes and saves Abby from harm. Together, they defeat both animatronics. However, as they attempt to leave the restaurant, William, disguised as Steve Raglan, emerges wearing a spring Bonnie suit and knocks Mike unconscious. When Mike regains consciousness, he finds himself surrounded by the animatronics, under William's control. It seems all hope is lost, but then Abby takes matters into her own hands. She begins drawing a picture depicting William murdering the children, which prompts the animatronics to turn on him. In a final act of justice, they attack William and drag him into the back room, where he meets a gruesome fate. Mike and Abby manage to carry a wounded Vanessa out of the restaurant, but her injuries are severe, and she falls into a coma. She is quickly rushed to a hospital, leaving Mike and Abby to reflect on the events that have unfolded. Now this film arises some question in the end. Let's discuss that. Question 1, will Vanessa ever wake up from her coma? Vanessa lived in fear of her father for so long, but she finally stood up to him, and it ended with William stabbing her. She was still conscious when Mike and Abby dragged her out of Freddy's, but 5 Nights at Freddy's ending reveals Vanessa fell into a coma. Considering she didn't die from her stab wound, suggests Vanessa will eventually wake up from her coma. It might take her a while to recover, but if 5 Nights at Freddy's had wanted to kill her off, it would have. Vanessa was integral to the fight against William, and her knowledge of the past is essential to any future film. Question 2, is Aunt Jane still alive at the end of 5 Nights at Freddy's? Aunt Jane was a menace throughout 5 Nights at Freddy's. She was adamant about taking custody of Abby and even hired a group to ransack Freddy Fazbear's pizza to get Mike fired. However, she all but disappeared after she was attacked by Freddy Fazbear himself. When Abby is taken from her home, Jane is seen on the floor of the living room, but there's no close-up or confirmation regarding what actually happened to her. Did Freddy kill her like the animatronics did to Max and her brother? It's possible, but the fact that Mike and Abby don't mention her at the end of the film suggests she probably survived. It would have been interesting to see how she perceived the events, and whether it terrified her enough to drop the custody case against Mike. But if she isn't dead, then it means she could be gearing up to continue the custody battle when she's feeling less rattled. Either way, her survival, like Vanessa's, is likely. Question 3. What 5 Nights at Freddy's changed from the game? 5 Nights at Freddy's follows the first game rather closely. Mike is still a night security guard who takes a job looking after the abandoned restaurant, and the animatronic's backstory is fairly similar as well. The biggest change from the game is the introduction of Abby, a character created for the film. While the Ghost Kids wanted to shove Mike into a spare animatronic suit, Abby is the one they want in the movie adaptation. Abby being in 5 Nights at Freddy's gives Mike a story that further deepens his character. It also gives him a bigger push when trying to fight off the animatronics so he can save Abby. What's more, William's role as the serial killer is revealed early on in the game, but his involvement is kept a secret throughout the film. In the games, William is already dead, and it's his ghost that possesses the animatronic Yellow Rabbit, whereas 5 Nights at Freddy's keeps him alive until the end of the film. Elizabeth is the name of William's daughter, but the film swaps her out for Vanessa, a security guard and not a police officer in the games. The film adaptation doesn't introduce William's son Michael, though it's worth noting that 5 Nights at Freddy's doesn't actually reveal Mike's last name. Question 4. How William's ending sets up 5 Nights at Freddy's 2. William's Yellow Rabbit suit, specifically the endoskeleton, begins stabbing him as he's dragged away by the other animatronics. 5 Nights at Freddy's ending doesn't confirm his death, but shows that he's bleeding heavily from his injuries as one of the Ghost Boys closes the storage door on him. If William dies, he could still come back as a ghost that brings to life his animatronic yellow rabbit. It's not like Mike burned Freddy Fazbear's pizza down. So it stands to reason that William could return regardless of his fate. Five Nights at Freddy's certainly sets up a sequel, though Mike and Abby's continued involvement remains unclear. And there you have it, the complete breakdown of the thrilling story of Freddy Fazbear's Pizza.